Did you know that victims' rights don't necessarily end at sentencing? Victims may have rights that apply even after a defendant is convicted. In criminal proceedings, emphasis is often placed on a defendant's trial or the entry of a plea, and the subsequent sentencing proceedings. Yet for many victims, the reality is that their involvement with the criminal justice system continues long after a defendant has been sentenced. Victims may have concerns relating to a convicted offender's escape or release from incarceration, compliance with the terms of release, collection of restitution, the possibility of a pardon, and any appeals or challenges to a conviction that may be filed, as these proceedings can continue on for months or even years. Fortunately, victims' rights extend to many of these after-sentencing realities. Alice Lester, a Deputy Attorney General in the California Attorney General's Office, discusses some of the impacts that post-conviction proceedings can have on victims' rights.
Everybody knows about the trial. Most people know that there's a direct appeal, but a lot of people don't know or don't think about post-conviction, both at the state level and at the federal level, which is what I do a lot of. And that takes place often years after the trial. And suddenly new issues come up. The defense counsel may be knocking on the victim's door, asking them how they feel about things. Are they sure that they saw what they saw? Trying to do their best to bring new reasons to change the outcome, get a new trial, get an acquittal, often years after the fact. And if they are successful, there could be a whole new trial well after the victim thought that it was all done.
Victims' rights can help protect victims and ensure that they have the option to stay involved and meaningfully participate in these proceedings if they choose to. Victims' rights in the after-sentencing context vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but it's important to remember that this wide range of rights may either be written to explicitly apply to these after-sentencing proceedings, such as rights to be present, rights to notice, or rights to be heard, or be broadly written so that they continue to apply in the after-sentencing context. In addition, if a criminal case is reversed on appeal for additional proceedings, such as redoing a sentencing hearing or retrying the defendant, victims are guaranteed the protection of all the rights that apply in those contexts as well. Keep in mind that even if victims choose to waive some of their after-sentencing victims' rights, that doesn't mean that they have waived all of them. For example, a victim may choose not to attend a parole board hearing or be informed of appeals while still asserting other rights, including his or her right to notice of a defendant's release from custody or his or her right to be heard in the event a defendant requests a pardon. It's important to pay attention to the specific requirements that may accompany after-sentencing victims' rights. Some jurisdictions may require a victim to affirmatively opt in to receiving certain victims' rights, frequently by filling out a form or notifying the Department of Corrections or otherwise requesting the rights. Be sure to research these requirements and submit any necessary materials to the appropriate agency or contact person. Jurisdictions frequently require victims to ensure that a current address or other contact information is kept on file. Because the after-sentencing process may be lengthy, victims need to be sure to update their contact information if they move to ensure that they continue to receive notice. Finally, it's important to keep in mind that parole, probation, and pardon proceedings often have their own statutory or regulatory schemes, and these can sometimes be fairly complex. Now you know a little bit more about victims' rights in the after-sentencing context. For more information, NCVLI has published a number of in-depth bulletins, including one summarizing 12 common victims' rights. These are available for download on our website in the Law Library. NCVLI can also provide more specific information and resources to members of the victims' rights community. To submit a request for assistance, please visit our website and fill out the online request form. Victims deserve to be treated fairly in the criminal justice system. NCVLI is here to help.